You know, when you think of those absolutely iconic ancient sites, the Great Sphinx of Giza, well, it has to be right near the top.
Oh, absolutely. It's just monumental.
This huge silent guardian, carved straight from the rock, human head, lion's body, just watching over the Giza Plateau. It really makes you want to go see it, doesn't it?
It really does. And the scale. It's almost hard to grasp until you're actually standing there. We're talking about 73 meters long.
73 meters. Wow.
I think nearly maybe 2.5 football fields end to end. And it's 20 meters high.
20 meters. Like a building.
About as tall as a 6-story building, yeah.
Yeah.
And pretty wide, too, 19 meters across.
Yeah.
What's really amazing is, I mean, this isn't some later thing. It's the oldest monumental sculpture we know of in Egypt.
It's oldest. Incredible.
Which, one of the most recognized statues anywhere, really. For anyone thinking of visiting, knowing a bit about its story first, it just adds so much to the experience.
Definitely. So if you are considering that trip to Egypt, well, our goal today is to give you a quick but hopefully really useful overview of the Great Sphinx.
Its origins, what it meant, how they built it.
Exactly, and some of those interesting facts you might not get on a standard tour. So let's start right at the beginning. When was this thing actually built, and who gets the credit?
Well, the most widely accepted idea, and there's quite a bit of evidence for this, puts its creation around 2500 BC.
2500 BC, that's Old Kingdom Egypt.
Right, during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre.
Khafre. He's the one who built the second biggest pyramid there at Giza, too, isn't he?
He is indeed. It really suggests this whole area was, planned together.
Like a single massive project.
Precisely. And the link between Khafre and the Sphinx seems even stronger because, well, the common view is that the Sphinx's face is Khafre.
His actual face.
Meant to be, yes. If you look at statues of Khafre, especially one they found in the Valley Temple right next door, the facial structure, there are some definite similarities.
Huh. So, like a personal monument for him, almost. Are there any other theories floating around about who built it?
There are, though they tend to have, let's say, less direct evidence backing them up. Some people suggest maybe Khufu.
Khafre's father built the Great Pyramid.
That's the one. Or maybe Djedefre, Khafre's half-brother. These ideas usually come from interpreting the style or how it lines up with other buildings. But honestly, the connection to Khafre's still seems the strongest, based on what we found archaeologically.
Okay, so Khafre's our most likely candidate. But why? What was the point of carving this giant lion man? What did it mean to them?
Well, this is where the symbolism gets really fascinating. The Sphinx probably combined the lion's power and sort of majesty.
Lions were a big deal for them, right?
Hugely respected. So that power combined with the pharaoh's intelligence and authority. It represented the king as both, a human ruler and divine.
Part man, part god. A powerful statement.
Exactly. Yeah. More than just a symbol, it likely acted as a living image of the sun god. Maybe Herakti, maybe Atum, depending on the exact time frame.
A living image.
Yeah. So in that role, it would be a powerful protector for the whole pyramid complex, guarding the tombs, keeping the cosmic order.
A guardian. Makes sense.
And later in the New Kingdom, they really venerated it as Hora-Makhet, which means Horus of the horizon, again, tying it strongly to the sun.
Guardian, royal symbol, religious icon.
Yeah.
All wrapped up in one massive statue. It really shows how important it must have been. But how on earth did they build it back in 2500 BC?
Well, this is one of the most amazing parts. It wasn't built up with blocks like the pyramids.
No.
No, it was carved down directly out of a huge chunk of natural bedrock. It's limestone, part of what's called the Mokattam Formation. Just imagine carving something that big straight out of the ground.
That's incredible. So the pit around it.
Yeah.
That's where they got the stone from.
That's the idea. That moat, or ditch around it, is basically the quarry. And the stone they cut away was likely used to build the temples right nearby, the ones connected to the Sphinx and Khafre's complex.
Wow. Any idea how long that took?
Well, estimates are always tricky, but maybe something like 100 workers taking about 3 years. A huge effort.
100 people for 3 years just on the Sphinx.
Yeah. And there's even some thinking that maybe the work stopped suddenly or was changed before they completely finished the original plan.
Interesting. Okay, let's jump forward. The Sphinx we see today, well, it's clearly seen better days in some ways. What sort of damage has it taken over the millennia? And what have people done to try and fix it?
Right. The damage and restoration story is pretty long. The most famous bit of damage, of course, is the missing nose.
Ah, yes, the nose in Napoleon's cannons, right?
That's the popular story, but nope, completely untrue. Yeah, we have drawings from the 15th century, well before Napoleon, that show the Sphinx without its nose.
So who did it?
The most likely culprit seems to be a medieval Islamic ruler, maybe around the 15th century, who might have seen it as an idol and had it deliberately removed.
Iconoclasm. Not accidental damage. That's important. What else is missing or broken?
Well, the royal cobra, the uraeus, on its headdress is gone. And the long ceremonial beard it once had, that's broken off too.
The beard. Where is that now?
Bits of it ended up in the British Museum, actually. And beyond that, the biggest issue, repeatedly, has been sand.
Just buried.
Yep, buried right up to its neck, sometimes over the centuries. The desert just kept trying to reclaim it.
Wow. Imagine digging that out. Who was the first to try?
The first time we have solid proof is around 1400 BC with a pharaoh named Thutmose IV.
Thutmose IV.
There's a famous granite slab, the Dream Still, right between the Sphinx's paws.
I think I've seen pictures of that.
Tells the story of how Thutmose, before he was pharaoh, supposedly had a dream where the Sphinx promised him the throne if he'd just clear away all the sand burying it.
A dream deal with the Sphinx. Clever politics, maybe.
Could well be. Either way, he did clear the sand. And others did too, later on. Ramses II did some restoration. Then during the Greek and Roman times, when Giza basically became a tourist spot, it was cleared again.
So people have been trying to preserve it for thousands of years.
Absolutely. Modern efforts really started in the early 1800s, and they're ongoing. It's not just sand now, it's erosion from wind, pollution is a big problem, and the rising water table underground. That's really bad for the limestone.
A constant battle, then. It shows how much people value it, though. Before we wrap up, are there any other little details, maybe some surprising facts someone visiting should know?
Oh, definitely. For one thing, we actually don't know its original name.
We don't know what the ancient Egyptians called it.
Nope. Sphinx is the name the Greeks gave it much later. We also know, from the Roman writer Pliny the Elder, that its face used to be painted red.
Red. Imagine that against the sand.
Would have been quite a sight. And medieval Arab writers, they saw it differently again, often as a kind of magical guardian, a talisman protecting the area, even controlling the Nile flood.
A magical protector.
And here's a funny one. For a while, between maybe the 16th and 19th centuries, some European drawings actually show the Sphinx as a woman.
A woman with breasts and everything.
Some depictions, yes. Shows how interpretations can really change over time.
That's wild. Anything else for a visitor?
Just remember it faces directly east, right towards the rising sun, reinforcing all those solar connections. And definitely take a moment to look at that dream stele between the paws. It's a direct link back to Thutmose IV.
So much history packed into one spot. It really has had an incredible journey through time.
It really has. And when you stand there, even with all we've learned, there's still this element of mystery. Its original name, exactly how it was used in rituals. We don't know everything. And that just adds to the fascination, I think.
So, if the Great Sphinx is on your travel list, remember you're not just looking at an ancient statue, you're connecting with this incredibly powerful symbol of Egypt's past, a masterpiece of engineering, and something that, well, just continues to blow people away.
It does. And maybe think about this. Considering how incredibly old the Sphinx is and all the effort across centuries to protect it, what does that tell us about how much we value our connection to the past? And what challenges does that present for keeping these amazing places safe, but also accessible for everyone in the future?